What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast powered by Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is game day. We're fired up here. We got the watch party at Duffy's with Canes Connection. So if you want to go watch the game, make sure you check out Duffy's Tavern right there in the edge of Coral Gables for the Miami Hurricanes Canes Connection watch party. We'll be out there. I'm leaving in probably couple hours down to Duffy's again on the edge of Coral Gables. Going to be a lot of fun to see everybody. Huge game coming up. They're all huge. They're all huge games, but a big one coming up against Virginia Tech. Miami needs to play well. You know, says style points, score. You know, my view of the whole deal is the score will take care of itself. Just play good ball. There it is. Shout out to the arena. Travis yawning. I don't know if he's yawning because he's tired or if he's just it's yawning for CJ Bailey yesterday because I know Travis is a big Judd guy. What Megan likes, what's up? Pac Mahomes was good. Oh, we got royalty in the house. The Queen, Miss Tony. Good morning to you. Let's see here. Yeah, we're fired up. It's a good morning, man. Like, exciting game coming up. So just looking at the matchup, we talked about it a bunch this week, but just kind of going over the basics here. You're talking about a run offense with Virginia Tech that involves a quarterback, that involves the tailback and Marcellus Hawkins, big boy number 27. Oh, look who hopped in. Pete, what's up?
D, good morning, man. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling I am nervous this morning. I'm nervous, but it's good nerves. I'm jittery. I'm excited because we're on the precipice. We're on the cusp of this program elevating. When you finish out the season strong like this, I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous, but jittery. I'm feeling good, man.
I feel good too, man. I feel good about the people involved. You know, we're talking about veteran quarterback who's playing the best football of his season right now. We're talking about a running game that's starting to find its legs with Pringle, maybe Fletcher coming back, Marty Brown doing his thing. You know, passing game, group of pass catchers led by, of course, one of the stars of college football in Malachi Toney, CJ Daniels, potentially creeping back as a leader of that room. Josh Moore, Upshaw, making strides. JoJo Trader, made a big play last week. Can he keep that going? So, yeah, a lot of people I feel good about on the offensive side of the ball, and then the defense, you cannot feel better about. It is one of the best groups in the country. Oh,
Canes fan Brandon says, last time you felt like this, we lost, Pete. My brother. If you listen to the post-game shows, I was not feeling like this when Miami was beating. I felt bad at the end of FSU. I did not necessarily like what went on against Florida. I was nervous for even after that Louisville game. And listen, the behind closed doors, I told you, look, they're going to drop another one. I said it here. I said it on the show. I said they're going to drop another ACC game. But after the SMU game, held the line, and there was a lot of people that were freaking out in the comments. Hey, calma, as the great Cristiano Ronaldo would say, calma. Everyone needs to calm down. This program's in the right hands. It's as healthy as it's been in 20 plus years. And they got to go finish the mission today, man. They today and next week. But listen, they're going to blow the doors off of Virginia Tech today. That's been written. You and I actually have the most similar scores we've had in a while. I'm going to post those now. Actually, I need to post those now because we got the post last night from our boy Camden Burton. You have 41-14. I have 42-14.
Yep.
So
that 4, I think, is big. If we can get to 40 points, obviously that means we're playing at a high level. The defense, I'm just not worried about. Not that they don't have anything to deal with. You're talking about a Virginia Tech running game, like we mentioned, top 25 in all the major running categories, running offense, total yards per carry. Their quarterback with Kyron Drones can run. Marcellus Hawkins, the FCS transfer, is a big guy that can get downhill, averaging over 6 yards a carry. So, you got your hands full with the running game, but we happen to have maybe the best run defense in America. So, up there with Ohio State, you can take your pick. I think we've played some better run offenses, maybe some better tailbacks than Ohio State's played, and held them to their worst games of the year. So, oh man, I'm excited.
But you don't get to claim Jaden Ball as one.
Yeah,
of those,
that's you. I'll let you
of
claim
those,
that one. I'll claim Jeremiah Love though. He's the best back in the country. Didn't do anything. But Coach Jenko says, D, how do we handle the QB scramble today? I'm not so much worried about the scramble. I'm worried about they get to 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, whatever it is, and their quarterback now is a much bigger threat to run for short yardage. That's really what their bread and butter is. When they can get those favorable down and distance, look, everybody loves favorable down and distance, right? But when you're a big quarterback, that's a lot easier. Someone with bulk, somebody that can run someone over, that can stretch and get that first down. They keep the chains moving, keep the ball away from Miami's offense, which again, Virginia Tech's defense, just like NC State, just like Stanford, just like Syracuse, their defensive rankings, most of them start with a 1 and have 2 digits after that. So not very good defense. Virginia Tech's going to want to hold the ball, get first downs, run effectively. If they hit a big one in play action, catch us by surprise. So that's basically what their deal is. Look at that. Hassan saying you're killing it in the work. What you said came true. Now can you give me lottery numbers?
Listen, I don't know what you're referring to exactly that I said came true. A lot of stuff I said came true. It doesn't look like the Lane Kiffin to Florida thing is going to happen, which, I pretty much had said that was going to happen the week that that Billy was getting fired. He hadn't officially been fired yet, but man, that's an interesting situation there with Lane, man. What a saga, huh? Listen, I wouldn't want to be any one of the teams involved there, even if you're getting them, man. It's been such a show.
Yeah, let's get into the coaching carousel, maybe the quarterback carousel here in a second. First, I want to talk about our friends at uhealthsports.com, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. If you're an active person, consider yourself an athlete, you know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury. Got a lot of Canes coming off the injured list here. If you want to be back 100% and compromising your performance is not an option, talk to the experts at University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether we're talking about elite competitors like CJ Daniels, Mark Fletcher, OJ Frederic, or just the average person, the experts at University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute will get you back to performing at your best. Make your appointment today, uhealthsports.com.
Listen, I don't appreciate this comment from Hannah Pond because Mr. Pond sharing the account with your wife. You've known me for a long time. You know who I am. You've got some videos of me in the archives. You know I am who I am.
Videos in the archives. Whoa, what does that mean?
Of me being the crazy guy that I am. Being the crazy wild guy that I am. Shout out to Mr. Brett Pond up there.
So let's start with the coaching carousel. Then I want to get to FSU losing to NC State. And of course, we're going to more Miami, Virginia Tech stuff. So Pete, when it comes to the Lane Kiffin saga, it sounds like the momentum is shifting more towards LSU. There was a big article at CBS Sports, which basically said LSU looks like the leader in the clubhouse. Ole Miss a strong contender as far as a return. UF running third. The sources in that article pointed to 2022 after Kiffin's first season with Ole Miss. He flirted with Auburn. A lot of people thought, apparently most people thought that he was going to Auburn, ends up going back to Ole Miss. And they said that could happen here because he's an indecisive guy. But it sounds like we're talking about LSU Ole Miss battle with UF potentially running third. Everybody's throwing a ton of money at him. He's sober. He's doing high yoga. He's not eating red meat. He's on point. So he's got the whole market at his feet. I don't know what you think about this.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me is from what I understand, D, and this is what it's really looking like, how it's playing out. Like Florida tried to get this deal done before Napier was officially fired, right? Like they were trying to line that up. Obviously, LSU, you knew there would probably be some movement there, but I think Florida really felt like they had gotten out in front of this thing and gotten it done. This is the wonderful world of coaching agents, though, doing what they do. Jimmy Sexton, of course, leading the show here. So if I'm Florida, I'm not very confident in terms of, because I'm speaking from someone who, and D, you had to deal with it. Well, all of us did. The way that a coaching search is run, it really reflects the health of your athletic, especially with the football coaching search. We saw the way that it was handled when Blake James really rushed into the decision and just hired Manny without any sort of search, right? I don't know how well Miami could have done in a coaching search at that point. There was not the resources behind it. I don't know that it was the most attractive job at that time. That was a reflection of where Miami's athletic department was at the time. Florida really, like I said, their confidence was sky high in getting this thing done.
Usually is, by the way.
Right. I mean, you put so much time and effort into landing your guy, and it just feels like they're scrambling now. Obviously, we saw the Summerall reports. A lot of the signs have him going to Auburn, right? I think as Bearded Kane brings up the question, he says you have to train rec. Why would anyone want to coach her? Look, there's still going to be big money involved there. They're going to back, I would imagine, whoever they hire, obviously to certain degrees, because if Lane was the guy who was hired, I'm sure the money would be even bigger there. But they've got to avoid doing what they did here with Billy Napier, hiring a guy who just wasn't ready for the job. So it'll be very interesting to see who ends up there. I mean, it just, again, this is not reflecting well on, because there's more to it than money, which we have to understand here, D.
Yeah, and Zay, by the way, we'll get to your super chat in a second here. If I'm Lane Kiffin and everybody's paying a lot of money, the Ole Miss, to me, they have a chance to go to the playoff this year. They're buying every single portal guy you could ever ask for. The money seems to be equal on all the teams. I'm not sure recruiting footprint matters as much as maybe it did in the past in the portal era, especially with the veterans that you're able to bring in from all over the country. But let's assume money's the same at all the programs, NIL commitment's the same, because it seems like that's the case. You're already at Ole Miss. I think you're hurting your reputation. Your team's got to be pissed off at you by doing this. You did a whole documentary on how you cleaned up your life and got yourself together at Ole Miss, and now you're leaving them. That's a bad look to me with Lane Kiffin. And a lot of Miami fans were like, why didn't we get Lane Kiffin the first time? I wanted Lane. I mean, Lane was an addict. That's why when he was available the first time, there weren't a lot of schools trying to get him. Now, everybody's trying to get him because he looks clean. But there's a reason why he was not valued the same way in 2021 that he's valued in 2025. That's one thing. But, in terms of LSU versus Florida, Florida has had two Hall of Fame coaches who were elite outside of Florida. And that is Steve Spurrier, who won an ACC championship with Duke before he went to Florida, and Urban Meyer, who had Utah in the top 5 as an undefeated team, and then also went on to lead Ohio State to a national championship. So those are two elite, like, home run coaches. I think anywhere they would have been successful. Take those two guys out, Zook was a failure. McElwain was a failure. Muschamp was a failure. Napier was a failure. Dan Mullen was a failure. And they didn't really land on their feet.
Zook did lay the foundation for them with some of those recruiting classes.
He did, but he didn't win with them. So you had 5 failed coaches. Look at the LSU side. Nick Saban. And LSU was not a good program for a long time. But once Nick Saban put him on the map, Nick Saban won a championship. Les Miles won a championship. Orgeron won a championship. So you're talking about 3 coaches in a row winning championships. Brian Kelly tried to kind of repeat history there, was unsuccessful doing it. We know he's a good coach. It didn't work out. They still won some games. I think the expectations were very high. They were a better team than UF, for example. But, like, if I'm looking at that, I'm saying, well, I can go to LSU. I don't really like to recruit high school, which Kiffin doesn't. I can get all the same portal guys because I don't have the same money at all the schools. But at LSU, I have Malik Neighbors. I have Jamar Chase. I have Justin Jefferson. I have Brian Thomas. Not those exact individuals, but where are they from? Louisiana. They just grow up. You don't even have to recruit them. They go to your school. So, like, if I can get guys like that every other year because they just naturally want to go to my school, I don't really have to recruit them that hard. As long as my collective pays them, I'm good. Well, it's a good way to start your offense. Florida, yeah, they have Vernell Brown. They had Dallas Wilson, great young receivers, but they had to fight tooth and nail for those guys, Pete, as you know. So to me, it's a little different in terms of how easy it is to recruit to LSU versus how easy it is to recruit to UF.
Canes Cat C305 said, Pete, saying Ron Zook laid the foundation is like saying Al Golden laid the foundation. Well, the difference is they followed it up with a pretty historic run there, and we followed it up with, not much. So
yeah, Al Golden laid the foundation for 9 win, 10 wins, like a pretty decent stretch with Rick's first 2 years. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, he did. Which, looking back on it, you could say that to a certain degree, but obviously the foundation was not very strong.
Right.
Which has been my whole point about this back-to-back 10 wins. Like, we've won 9 games and then 10 games once back to back here in, that was what, 2016, 2017 with Richt that you did it. And that's the only glimpse of it. You haven't even been close. So sustaining some success here, I think, is going to go a long way.
And I think if I'm UF, I know why they want Lane. Those guys, I know a ton of UF fans. They are obsessed with Steve Spurrier.
Spurrier, yeah. They think he's a spitting image of Spurrier. So
that's their model. Like, they just love Spurrier. So it's hard to get that image out of their head. The talking smack, the offense, all that, the image. And he's a good coach. To me, if I'm UF,
look, if Canes fans could replicate Jimmy Johnson, we'd do it, right?
That's true. You're absolutely right. So I think with UF, they would have been better off with a James Franklin. I've said that since the beginning. That's not just saying that because he went to Virginia Tech. I've been saying, and you've been pretty much on the similar page, that James Franklin to build that program. And I think the closest thing you're going to get to a James Franklin is Eli Drinkwitz from Missouri, your guy, Pete, because he builds NFL players all over.
I wonder if he's going to Penn State, though. Penn State, the JMU coach. You know what's funny though here, D? I got to take this opportunity here. JR Bar says Spurrier Steakhouse is not good.
Oh, you froze right when you're about to do your read.
Market. What happened? What happened?
You froze right when you're about to do your read. There, you're back. You're back. All right, get that transition.
Well, you froze too, so I don't know. Maybe it was the whole stream. I don't know. But we got, like I said, we got this quote here, this comment here from JR Bar. He said, Spurrier Steakhouse is not good. If you want the real meat, Lomello's Meat Market here in South Florida, 9810 South Dixie Highway, right by Dayland, not far from campus. And if you're not local, you can still get fresh Wagyu beef delivered to your door. And you get that discount, the CIS, the CanesInSight discount, promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. Still got time here. Go down to Lomello's this morning and pick up your steak if you're going to be grilling at home watching this one. Again, lomellos.com.
Yeah, well, you can wash it down with a nice cool can of BUZZN, BUZZN. Drink BUZZN.com, drink BUZZN.com. First order, use code FIRST55 for 35% off. Big Daddy's Liquors serving out BUZZN by the crate. Grab some for your tailgate here or your party, right? You're going to be, it's a road game. First time Miami's been out of state since the SMU game. Really the second time total all year. So you'll be sitting in the comfort of your home, or you'll be at Duffy's with us. But if you're not, and you're in the comfort of your own home, go grab yourself a BUZZN from Big Daddy's Liquors, or order yourself a bunch of crates today at drinkbuzzn.com. So,
D, this is the rumor that I've been seeing this posted too. Kalen DeBoer to Penn State. I just don't. I mean, I get that there was early in the season they had their struggles, but I don't know that Bama wants to lose him at this point. I know what the rumors were. It's still Bama. They can probably go pluck someone's coach, but that just doesn't make too much sense to me right now. Because like, if he has another year next year similar to this, he's still going to be a wanted man. It's not like programs won't want him. They'll look at it and say, man, you followed up Nick Saban in Alabama. It's a tough job to follow up. I don't see him jumping ship now. If we're a year down the line from now and it's a similar sort of thing where, maybe 9-3 again, 8-4 sort of thing, then I could see it. But yeah.
I don't know why you would leave anywhere. I mean, Alabama's a top program in the country. Where are you going to go? NFL? I think that's the only thing I could see. Penn State is the most delusional program in the planet. Here's the reality of Penn State. Everybody thought James Franklin downgraded by going to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech played in a national championship game much more recently than Penn State did. Virginia Tech did. Penn State, what have they done in our lifetimes?
Well, I mean, look, Virginia Tech has not been nationally relevant. Penn State has been. Yeah, because of James Franklin. I'm a James Franklin guy. I'm not discounting, but I agree. And now you're seeing some of the money commitment. We'll see what the NIL commitment is. That's really all I care about. We talk about. You see these numbers. They're apparently going to be like 4th or 5th now in the country in terms of their coaching staff budget behind, I think, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State. I forget the other one, D.
Yep.
But it still looks like they're going to be putting, which is another one of the reasons I always make the point of, like, do you think Miami's the only program who's putting more of a commitment than they ever have towards it? When you hire a coach like this, you are putting a lot of money to the side to be able to pay for what he needs. So I expect them to be good pretty quickly, D.
And like, just so what people understand what I'm talking about. So here's Penn State's season win totals going back, this 2013 and going back. So this is before James Franklin, going back. 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, 7 wins, 2 11-win seasons, then 9, 9, 11, 4 wins, 3 wins, 9 wins, 5 wins, 5 wins, 10 wins, 9 wins, 9 wins. Franklin alone has had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11+ win seasons, plus another 10-win season. So, and that was in a much shorter period of time. So really, and I left out the fact that there was a huge pedophilia scandal sandwiched in between those years. So, like, what does this program think they are? It's ridiculous to me.
I mean, look, J.R. Barr says he's been better. They've been better in Miami. That's kind of what I was getting at too, which is my whole point for, like, we want to go to the playoffs, of course, but we got to at least make this thing respectable. We have not been respectable whatsoever.
With Franklin, they've been good. No, don't misunderstand.
With Franklin, they've been very good. Yeah.
With Franklin, they've been good. They've been putting NFL guys left and right, first round, second round picks every year, a bunch. They went double.
But what you're saying is the job of Penn State isn't like some job that's like, oh my gosh, if I'm a coach, I really want that. I really want that gig.
Yeah, it's like the gig. He elevated the job. The job did not elevate James Franklin. That's what I'm saying. This guy won 9 wins at Vanderbilt. And this is before the portal era, when you still had to recruit everybody. You know what I mean? Like, 9 wins at Vanderbilt before portal is insane. Twice in a row before doing Penn State. So I think Virginia Tech moved up. Penn State, I don't see how they're going to upgrade. I think Drinkwitz makes a lot of sense. If I was Penn State, I'd look at Matt Campbell. You know,
yeah, I don't love I saw Matt Campbell's in the mix at Arkansas, which would be a weird job for him to take. He's had a ton of opportunities the last 10 years. He's been in the mix for these jobs for a long time. So I don't know that's Arkansas job is not one that I'm very keen on. If I'm a coach, like, I take Oklahoma State over Arkansas.
Yeah. And I don't know why Matt Campbell wouldn't be in the mix for better jobs. I mean, they won 11 games last year, you know. He's turned
a lot of jobs down, though. Remember the Jets wanted him badly a few years back?
Yeah.
So he's turned opportunities down. Shoot, if I was Florida, I'd go over after Matt Campbell. I don't know enough about him to understand what the fit would look like, like in terms of, you know, his personality. But out of a lot of these options out there, I'd rather Matt Campbell than Summerall if I'm Florida. Right now.
I mean, look at last year.
Or Golesh. And I'm a Golesh guy, but I think, like, Campbell sustained it there for a minute.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the last few years. This last year, he had a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. Year before that, a 4th-round pick. Year before that, a 1st-round pick, and then 2 day 3 picks. Year before that, a 2nd-round pick, Breece Hall and Brock Purdy in the same draft, and then 2 more 4th-round picks. 4th-round pick before that, and then the 2019, a 3rd and a 4th. So this guy's putting in day 1, day 2 guys, like, regularly. At Iowa State, the worst place in the world to recruit, you know, athletes that are not from there. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Matt Campbell. We'll see how that one goes. I want to talk CJ Bailey FSU, and then of course we'll come back to the game, which we've been breaking.
And we got the super chat. We got Zay's super
chat.
Yeah,
let's go.
Get off here in like 10 minutes.
We haven't forget about you. He says, "Do you guys think Jay Lucas? By the way, appreciate your support. Do you guys think Jay Lucas makes the tournament this year in year 1? What do you think, Pete? You've seen now a few games."
Yeah, I'm still. I've been kind of hedging here. I've been saying I'm not ready to make my call yet. I believe that I think someone said this earlier. I think bubble team right on the edge. I think best case scenario, it's like a 10 seed, 10 seed, 11 seed. If they can win some of these, you have BYU here, right? If they can win a game against a top 10 BYU here, if you can go beat Ole Miss on the road in early December, right? You have to start stacking some of these non-conference wins.
Yeah.
because when you're on the bubble there, the ACC, we'll see how many teams it gets. It's a stronger ACC. Louisville's looking really good this year. Wake Forest, they've had some ups and downs early, but I like Wake Forest here. Obviously, we know about Duke, Carolina. I think the jury's still out on them a little bit. But that's all a long-winded answer to say, I believe this is going to be a bubble team. D.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it'll be on the bubble in every game. Meaning, like, this is going to be a team that plays just a lot of close games, right? I don't know if this is going to be a team that you're playing, obviously, the lighter part of your schedule now, but I don't think there's going to be a team that blows a lot of teams out. Now, at the same time, I don't think it's a team that's going to get blown out a lot. So, a lot of those swing games, you just kind of got to have them fall your way more than they don't. I think a Trey Donaldson at the end of games is going to be big. I think a Malik Renew at the end of games is going to be big. But Pete, and I know this as a Heat fan, for many years, when we had Jimmy Butler and Hero and Bam as our kind of core, and Kyle Lowry, one of the biggest difference makers in close games, free throw shooting.
They need to make free throws. Yeah.
So I think that's one area where if you play a lot of close games, and that Heat team, for example, they were in a lot of close games. They didn't blow any teams out, but like you had 80% free throw shooters all across the board, including your big men. So like you'd win a lot of games that you probably shouldn't have just because the free throw shooting down the stretch would favor you.
And they get to the line too. That's the thing. And someone mentioned in the comments yesterday, like that's a skill. These guys they're getting to the hoop and they're drawing fouls, which like Malik Renew is going to get to the free throw line a ton. Trey Donaldson is going to get to the free throw line a ton. Shelton Henderson with his physicality. So they have guys that can get to the hoop, but if you are making the free throws, it's not worth anything. So
yeah. But I like that. Go ahead.
No, that BYU game is going to be interesting because they have, I believe the point guard's name is Rob Cooper from Baylor, who can fill it up. But they have, but obviously Dabonsa as well. But I think Dabonsa is a guy who, obviously a top 3 pick in the draft coming up here, but still not a finished product. And I think Miami's going to obviously send extra attention his way. We'll see what his playmaking looks like because as a one-on-one scorer, I love what he can do right now. But I think Miami's going to try to take the ball out of his hands and force others to beat them.
Yeah, that'd be a fun game to watch for sure. I keep calling him Gonzaga because it's so weird to talk about BYU being a good team.
Rob Wright, not Cooper. Rob Cooper is the baseball coach at Miami, right?
Yeah, he's not there anymore. But yeah, that was him.
So Robert Wright.
Yeah. Got a question here from JR Barr. Best bar to watch the Canes game today. Duffy's, baby. Right there in the edge of Coral Gables. Me and Pete will be out there. I'll be out there. Are you going to be out there?
I'm not sure yet.
All right, your game time decision, but I'll be out there for sure.
Nick Watson asking about Timo Malovich. He said, Pete, we're not seeing much from him. What happened? I don't think anything happened. I just think he's still getting adjusted to the speed of the game. 2 games ago, he was 4 for 6 from 3. So I think, D, you and I actually talked about him at length yesterday. We had Jack McClinton on. That was an awesome segment. That's going to be a regular thing here moving forward. And I think it just comes down to the speed of the game and confidence with him. He's a guy who played a lot more on the ball previously. He's kind of playing more of a off-ball role and playing a perimeter wing spot. And I think he's just getting used to that. But skill set's there.
Yeah, I agree. He's timid. And that timid personality-wise is timid in terms of like he's transitioning and he's getting used to it. I think that'll happen. But real quick, so football news. I know who was it? Steven Smith saying basketball talk on a football game day.
Listen, we had two different people requesting basketball talk too. So it's
we're talking it all at CanesInSight. Yeah, that's what we do out here. We're talking all Canes sports, of course, football. And I think we talk football more hours a week than anybody. That I'll bet on that one. But yeah, so getting on the football side, I just got a bunch of tweets. So I just went through all of my tweet notifications that just came through. Some breaking news. So Desmond Reed out for Pitt against Georgia Tech. So that Pitt beating Georgia Tech scenario to me is looking very doubtful with all the guys that are out for Pitt. They would technically still be alive when they played us, but I think the juice would be considerably down. So to me, beat Virginia Tech, play well. Pitt's going to most likely
Don't we need
lose.
Pitt to win this game though?
For scenario, but I don't see it happening. They're out Desmond Reed. They're out their kicker. They're out a bunch of guys. Maybe they win. But I think that's going to be a tough one for them against Georgia Tech. That's fired up, got everything in front of them. So I think most likely Pitt loses.
But they've looked a little leaky too.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about CJ Bailey in a second, who lit them up 2 weeks ago. But yeah, we'll see. But Desmond Reed out, which is their star all-purpose back from Miramar, Florida. He's out, so not good news for Pitt as we get ready for it. Then another story came out from, I want to say, On3, reporting that Lane Kiffin looks to be leaning to LSU. It's like recruiting, man. Can you imagine? This is like recruiting a head coach. He's going to do a hat ceremony probably in the middle of a playoff run. It's insane what's happening with this dude. But look, Miami's got to take care of business against Virginia Tech today. All this other stuff's going to take care of itself. Miami beats Virginia Tech, and then Pittsburgh's going to come in wounded and probably lacking juice in that stadium when we play them. Take care of business and let the chips fall. And we'll see what happens with this coaching carousel. We'll see if
there's two big things that could still pop when it comes to the coaching carousel, and that's, to me, it's Sark.
Yeah,
what's going to happen there? Because there's been a lot of talk about whether or not he's going to the NFL. Is he going to step down? A lot of just rumors out there.
Yep.
And then there's some weird stuff with Lincoln Riley too. There's been a lot of murmurs about what's he trying to do. Is he trying to come back to an area that he's more familiar with? I don't know that it's the best fit for him. He might be realizing that. So those two could shake everything up.
Big time.
Yeah.
That's probably the game, Pete, besides our game, that I'm looking forward to the most, even though it doesn't have as much of an impact on our
Oregon USC. Yeah.
Oregon USC. I mean, look, there's a couple others that, like any Oklahoma game, right? Oklahoma, Missouri. I mean, that could drastically change. So I guess, I'd say that's probably the most important game for Miami, if I'm being honest. UK Vanderbilt, also a pretty important game, both home games for the teams we're cheering against, unfortunately. But I think in terms of like an interesting situation, if Oregon just blows the doors off USC, Notre Dame's best win goes down. Lincoln Riley, looking at 3 losses at least. So interesting situation there. And I think you're right. The dominoes. If I'm Lincoln Riley, I'm trying to go to the NFL. I know USC is the number 1 recruiting class in the country. They spent a ton of money, but is he going to last?
Is the NFL knocking his doors down right now, though?
Well, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's had a lot of success in the NFL,
but right? As a coordinator, though,
the head coach, not as much. But
I'm a Kingsbury guy. I would hire him as a head coach. But I'm just saying,
you don't have to recruit. You know what I mean? You don't have to do all this other stuff. You see Ben Johnson at Chicago having some success.
Listen, I could see as I forget what our boy's original name is here.
Arab. His name's Arab.
Oh, Arab. Okay. So he says, only job I see Lincoln leaving for is Florida. I could see him going to Florida too. There's something about that fit that seems like it would make sense.
Let him go. I think you talk about.
They're not going to. Arab says USC doesn't have the money to fire him. I don't think they're going to fire him. I just think that he might be trying to get ahead of. Sometimes these coaches, you got to realize, it's kind of like why I think there's been so much speculation with DeBoer. They want to get out ahead of the hot seat. And I don't think that DeBoer's hot seat was actually hot. I think obviously they had that loss of Florida State, and it was such a shocker that it made people kind of take a step back real quick. But he wasn't actually on the hot seat. So I think a lot of times they try to get out ahead of it, and maybe that's what Lincoln Riley would be trying to do there.
Yeah, that could be. 3 losses. That's not a good deal. You're talking about year 4. They haven't won anything. They're not, they're not recruiting well. Now this year, finally, they're recruiting well, but are you going to be able to last long enough to reap the rewards of that? We'll see. It's interesting. That's a lot of interesting scenarios. This is going to be a very interesting coaching carousel and a portal carousel. So let's get to the portal part. I know, obviously, look, we talked Canes a lot. I think there's no secret to what needs to happen in this game. Fast start, offense, score quick, get on top of these guys, make them throw, get them out of their running game. Don't let them control the clock, run the ball. Now it's just kind of nerves and let's go. We're always looking to the future because we're just crazy like that. Last night, NC State against Florida State. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat, I already see it, saying CJ Bailey, they weren't impressed. They didn't like what they saw. And I don't think he played outstanding. I do think, I'm just pulling up the actual final stat line in a victory over the hated Florida State Seminoles. what was he? 18 to 25. Very much dink and dunk, 152 yards only, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I could live with that. Certainly 21-11. Knowles losing, I could live with that. Just a comedy of errors for Florida State. Punts going off people's heads. All kinds of mishaps. And the offense looked terrible. So what do you see, Pete, with this game? It could be the FSU side. It could be the Bailey side. Where are you at?
Yeah, so I didn't get to watch the full game. So I actually fell asleep before the end of the game there. So I really don't want to I don't want to speak out of the side of my mouth that I don't know what's going on. I gotta tell you the truth. From what I did see, Bailey is he's got his ups and downs, man. I think if Miami brings him in, you're not getting a finished product, and you have to hope that the pieces around will elevate who he is. Like he's got talent, he's got the tools that a lot of people don't have, but at the same time, there's a lot of flaws, a bit of I think at times like lackadaisical in some of the stuff that he does. But that's just what I see.
No, look, it's not a finished product. Maybe I'm hardened by the Mendoza battles last year, where 95% of us were telling us, hey, this guy sucks and he's going to be in New York for the Heisman. So maybe I'm just a little hardened from that, and where I don't really listen to people, what they tell me on this stuff. But I think if you break it down, he needs to get better. He's a true junior or true sophomore. He'll be a true junior next year. And I think 6'6", he is completing now 70% of his passes. If you look at the stats, he's in the ACC. He's at or near most categories. He's third in yards. He's third in completion percentage behind Haynes King and Carson Beck. Quarterback rating, I think he's fourth behind Mensah, King, and Beck. Touchdowns, he is second behind Mensah. So, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. The question is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the country. And I think if you take him and put him behind our offensive line, his weaknesses have come under fire, right? When he gets pressure. And he gets a lot of pressure because we saw NC State's defense, our offensive line is terrible. I think you put him behind our offensive line, which will be under some changes themselves. We'll see if Markel Bell comes back. But I think you've been good on that side of the ball on the offensive line for a while, going back to Oregon. So I think if you have just your average Mario Cristobal Mirabal pass blocking, I think his game elevates tremendously. He's already a good ACC quarterback.
And by the way, I'm not out on him, right? I just see like I see there's some issues there to work through.
Yeah, he's got to
make a big leap, and I think D, if you bring him in as one of the commenters said a moment ago too, like there is a chance that you get him for multiple years, which you have to say, man, what sort of leap would it look like next year? And then if you get him for another year, you could be talking about someone who's in the running to be a big pick. But I think there's a lot of room to grow there. But hey,
yeah, he's only 1 year older than Nickel.
I keep saying it though. You give him the same pieces that you did with Ward, and you do the same thing for Ward. Ward cut down on turnovers, and look, you guys can think that I'm hating him, but the fact of the matter was he cut down on his turnovers big time at Miami because the O-line was better. And are we allowed to give the coaches credit? Are we allowed to do that, D? We can't give Shannon Dawson credit for coaching him up. Like there was something there. Carson Beck, we still want to see what these last 2 games, how the season finishes, but I love how the trend is looking there. Obviously, I don't want to use it as an excuse, but you also had the injury, kind of, I guess you'd call it like a hangover in the middle of the season, as you've mentioned, like still learning how, what the arm feels like. And I think has gotten over that hump now at this point and has looked way different to me. But why can't you do a lot of the similar things for Bailey that you did for Cam Ward?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. You got to he has room to elevate, but like you said, he has 2 years of eligibility. If he only stays 1 year, that probably means he had a sick year.
Ward had played what? Ward had played 4 years of football. Had started for 4 years before he came to Miami.
Right.
So what is CJ Bailey going to look like in 3 years?
Right, and that's the cool thing about Bailey too is that since he started since he's a true freshman, he has 20 starts coming in. Galaxy King says, I see Ja'Cory Brown. I mean, this guy's a 70% passer. I don't think Ja'Cory Brown completes 70% on air. So, I think that he'd be better than Ja'Cory. Canes Cat says, I'm big out on him. I'm curious. So what is it? And look, there's a lot of people in the comments saying this, so maybe I'm crazy. But again, I think the Mendoza thing has made us just, at least me, more resistant to this type of thing. But, people are out on us here.
And I think Joel makes a good point here. He says, you guys think there's unlimited options out there. He says there's about 5 with real skills, and we won't be the only program throwing cash. And this is a discussion for another day. I got to hop off here in a minute. But like, if you could pick any quarterback in the country right now who has eligibility last year or next year, like
that isn't going pro, because Mendoza
that isn't going pro,
pro,
right? Like, who do you take? It's still a debate. It's not like there's a surefire answer, which is the issue here. And it was, obviously there was a debate last year too, with the way that people didn't want Mendoza. Even when you took Beck, there was a ton of questions, obviously. But there's not a surefire guy. So every guy is going to have their flaws. And I think that's when we're looking at it as a fan base, and we have to put ourselves in these coaches' shoes and say, man, like, yeah, we can pluck someone, but it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, there's not a perfect. I think you said it well, Pete, on the way out of here, which is that there's not a perfect quarterback in the country. I mean, everybody's got questions, and that was one thing I learned during the portal process last year. People thought everybody sucked. We
love Mateer. Mateer obviously had some injuries, but he hasn't looked perfect this year.
No, CJ Bailey's stats are way better than Mateer. Mateer's playing the SEC, so you give him some grace. But yeah, Mateer's not been the strength of that team. It's been the.
Look, outside of Mendoza, is there another quarterback that you would say Miami should have taken last year?
Beck.
Over Beck. I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's where the discussion is very
Mensa
interesting.
is a good player. Duke sucks. Tulane got better when he left.
Miami gave Mensa Miami gave Mensa $4 million coming out of Tulane, do you know what that discourse would have looked like? Do you know what the conversations would have been?
Horrible. And I don't know if he can win. Mensa played bad in their losses, and they've lost a lot. And he won 9. He went 9-5 in Tulane. Tulane's better without him. So, I'm not totally sold on Mensa, although he's a good player. So yeah, I don't know who.
Most players are better when they're not coached by Manny Diaz. That's just the fact of the matter.
So
look, I gotta hop off.
I'll see you later, man. So
JKS. I'll say JKS, if I have any QB in the country, would be the guy from Cal.
I would agree, but here, Pete, I'm gonna give you a stat.
How realistic is that when every school in the country is going to be going after him?
And Pete, I'm gonna give you a stat that's gonna blow your mind here. So 10 starts. So through 10 starts. All right, are we through 10 starts? Okay, one quarterback as a true freshman in the ACC, 10 starts. Okay, so we're apples to apples. I'll give you the first line. 2,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks, 65 completion percentage, 144 QB rating, and 279 yards rushing. That's the first one. Second one, 10 starts.
All time?
That's through 10 starts as a true freshman in the ACC.
But all time, you're saying?
This is player A as a true freshman in the ACC, had 65% passing, 2,400 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks, 144 rating, and he ran for 279 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's number one. The other guy, true freshman in the ACC through 10 starts, JKS, I guess, spoiled it, 2,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 9 picks, 126 rating, 61% completion percentage, and he ran for negative 111 yards. So the point is, if you look at their first 10 starts in the ACC, CJ Bailey, as a true freshman, which is last year's only 1 year older than JKS, was way better. That's just the numbers.
I was going to ask you, what were TVD's numbers in the
I'm sorry that narrative. We didn't start as a true freshman, but I'm sorry that narrative is upsetting to people. And I like JKS, but if CJ Bailey was from Hawaii putting up the same numbers, would people be so critical of him? I just gave you the numbers, and the numbers say, and I'm just going to say the conclusion: CJ Bailey as a freshman was better than JKS as a freshman. That's not saying JKS is not more talented. He's not a better option for us. I'm not saying that. But I am saying Bailey, as a true freshman in this exact same conference last year, was better than JKS. If you don't believe me, find me a number that tells me I'm wrong.
All right, D, I got to hop off here.
All right. See you, man.
Go Canes.
Clutch, I know you're on my side. He said, put people on Bailey out of Bailey because of bad performance against the best defense in the ACC and Dawson's system with JoJo Malley and Pringle. Better O-line. I like him. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I mean, what can I tell you, man? I actually didn't even know until I pulled those numbers up about JKS and CJ Bailey. But when you see it, you're like, man, this guy's 6'6". He completes 70% of his passes. He has a good arm. People are saying Bailey's Ja'Cory Harris. I mean, any skinny black quarterback he gets compared to. This guy's 6'6". Harris was 6'3". I think Bailey's arm is significantly stronger than Ja'Cory Harris. I think he's way faster than Ja'Cory Harris, and his production's been better. So, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong on any of that stuff. My guy, You Heard Joey. Yeah, check out the You Heard podcast, man. Joey Benito, man, these guys do a great job out there. He says, I'm taking CJ Bailey easy. Him and Levitt are my two, both with starting experience in big games, man. Yeah, starting experience is huge. You need starting experience in this game. It is such a difference maker because you don't want to go through the learning curve when you're losing games, when you're paying someone in the portal. Coach Jenko, y'all sleeping on the North Texas guy fouled by the same quarterback coach that had the foul Ward and Mateer. Yeah, Morris, man, what a stud. Eric Morris, this guy's North Texas's coach, got them playing well. Not only does he have Drew Mestamaker, the North Texas quarterback, who I think is phenomenal and a really talented guy. I know he had a bad game against USF, but he's really talented. But he also found the running back, Caleb Hawkins, who might be the best running back in the country besides Jeremiah Love, like super talented guy, NFL guy. So he's recruiting his butt off. Found Ward, found Mateer, Coach Baker Mayfield, and Mahomes and Texas Tech. Somebody's going to get a really good coach. If I was FSU or UF, I'd just get him and say, forget you're going to get criticized for it, whatever. And I would take him. That's what I would do. Go big. Air asks, is Dawson going to be back next year? I mean, I think so. We'll see. Let's see what's going on here. All right, let's get into some more Canes stuff before we get out of here because we do have the Canes game that we're all fired up about. First, want to talk about the rare triple win scenario, and that is KashKick, KashKick in the App Store. This is a triple win because if you like to play games on your phone, you get puzzle games, sports games, anything you want, fishing games, you name it, action games on your phone, all organized, consolidated in the app. Top of that, as you're playing, advertisers pay money. Pay money to you just for playing the games. Third, those same advertisers pay equivalent money to the American Cancer Society as a donation to fight this terrible disease. So you play games, have fun. You make money. You don't just not pay money. You make money just for playing the games. And there's a donation for American Cancer Society just because you played those games. So everybody wins. Triple win situation. KashKick, KashKick, one of the top apps in the country, 4.5 plus average rating in the App Store, 1.5 million plus downloads. Join today. KashKick, KashKick in the App Store. All right, let's get back to the game here. Let's finish off. Canes fan Brandon, player of the game today, D. I was thinking about this, and I'm not just saying that because the Queen, Miss Tony, was in the chat. I think Malley has a huge game. He's been great consistently, so it's not like that's going on a limb. But I feel like he's going to have one of those like FSU games where with the ball in the air, he just dominates. We've seen him pass, we've seen him run, we've seen him do all these things. I think receiving today, you're going to see Malley go crazy. So I think I can see like a Malley 140-yard receiving game where he's just running by guys, catching short passes, taking them to the crib. I woke up today and I was like, man, this feels like Malley against FSU. So that to me, Malachi Tony is my player of the game. And Carson Beck's the guy you could talk about on the defensive side of the ball. It'd be good if it's Ruben Bain. We've been waiting for him to get those sacks. Not that he's not causing pressure and killing everybody, but we need it'd be nice to see him finish just for his own awards and NFL, and of course our defense getting the ball back. Travis, man, you're killing us with this bad energy, weird feel. Look, it's college football, man. We've seen it. Road games are tough. You have James Franklin in the building. They're going to be fired up. Miami's got to perform. I'm nervous too. We're in the playoffs at this point, but I think you have a team that's focused. I think a team that's getting healthy. I don't think they're overlooking anybody. So just got to play ball and see what happens. You're the better team. I like going in with the better team. So that to me feels like a better option. Second time out of state. Yeah, but look, this is a grown-up team. If Carson Beck in his 6th year and all these other veteran players can't perform out of the state, maybe they're not who we thought they were. Here's the triple win. Miami wins, Pitt wins, Louisville wins with a bonus of Missouri win. I think Missouri, I'm telling you, maybe I'm crazy, but I think Missouri is the biggest one. I think our best path is right there in the 12, not through the ACC. And I just think Missouri beats Oklahoma. Boom, Oklahoma's out of there. I don't see Vanderbilt really jumping us. I think we jump BYU and Utah. We're in that scenario. So I think that's where I want to see it. There we go. Good vibes from CFC. Cranky Grinch D, do you drink BUZZN? I do. I don't drink alcohol, so BUZZN is my thing. Clutch, how much does Franklin being in the building matter? Does he have any impact on the game? I think it's just really he'll just get the crowd kind of into it a little bit, although it looks like it might be a light crowd. Who knows? Noon game, ugly weather. We're the better team. Just play clean, avoid the penalties, avoid the turnovers, play good football. Just win. That's it. Yeah, man, a lot going on. We're keeping the vibes positive because I think, again, we do have the better team. And one thing I'll say, if you look at the losses to Louisville, to SMU, right, the games that you're going to be circling and saying these are teams that gave us problems. Aside from being better teams, I think the biggest difference is SMU, 26th in the nation in scoring defense. It's a good defense. 21.2 points allowed per game. We exceeded that, but not by too much. Louisville, 22 points per game allowed. These are good defenses at Louisville and at SMU. When you talk about Virginia Tech, 117th in the nation in scoring defense, 32.8 points a game. Syracuse, who we saw, is 114th with 32 points allowed per game. And then the Stanford team that we just played, 90th in the nation, 29 points allowed per game. NC State, 106th in the nation, 31.7 points allowed per game. So the games where we played bad defense, we scored a lot of points. The games that we played good defenses has been harder. Not rocket science with that. Obviously, we're on the road, so that changes the dynamic a little bit. The weather sounds like it's going to be pretty good. JoJo's got the Doppler radar up. So, I think if you play your game, you execute, you avoid penalties, 12-9 against SMU and Louisville. If you avoid penalties, avoid turnovers, you got a great shot to win. You're the better team. So, not trying to be too simplistic with it, but that's really the breakdown of the game. Stop the run. You're like just looking at the run defense stats. I mentioned it, and we've gone over this before, but I think this is really the story of the game. So might as well just focus on it. Rushing yards per game. Virginia Tech's 24th in the nation with 191.3 rushing yards per game. Yards per rush attempt. Virginia Tech is 21st in the nation with 5.0 yards per rush attempt. Rush defense. Miami is 4th in the nation in total rushing yards allowed, 80.7 rushing yards allowed per game. And then if you look at rushing yards per attempt, Miami is 4th in the nation again, 2.7 yards per attempt. Elite run defense against a very good run offense for Virginia Tech. That's the story of the game. You stop their run, their passing game's not very good, and their defense not very good. Stop the run, avoid penalties, avoid turnovers, have fun, execute. You're going to win a lot of ball games, including this one. Morning, Deep Plata, we roll. Shout out Josh. Shout out Nick West over there in beautiful Oregon. CSC, so we got that grown man team. I think we do have some grown-ups that are going to be ready to play ball. Yeah, the Fighting Norvells were a comedy of errors last night. Imagine if that's your team. Oh, man, it was our team for many years. But as far as those errors, it used to happen to us. And, we're not immune to them. But, yeah, FSU's in a whole different category of struggle as far as, balls bouncing off people's heads. Oh, no, don't tell me what's going on here. Apparently, the field looks like crap, which I'm a little concerned about because we got to play these guys and you don't want to get hurt. Let's see. What's this field look like? Yuck. All right, guys. Be safe. Hopefully. We obviously want more than anything. We want to win and no injuries, right? Style points, everything else, that's important too. But, man, we gotta win. Kevin Dennis says, speaking of Oregon, can we flip Devin Jackson? That's not a name I've heard. I got to find out. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't heard anything on Devin Jackson. By the way, shout out to Darion Coleman, man. This guy right here. Let's pull up his tweet. Speaking of recruiting, we haven't given this guy enough love, I don't think. But this guy right here. Shout out to Balin Trujillo. I know watches the show. Look at this. Look at Miami's quarterback commit for Orlando Jones, Darion Coleman. Look at this production and performance right there. Threw for a touchdown, ran for one, 29-18 victory in the regional semis over Ocala Vanguard, Kosi Perry's old school. Look at this. 24 passing touchdowns, 0 picks in 12 games, and they're winning. And there you see his coach, Balin Trujillo, with the UM sweater on. You get that at the Miami Hurricane team store, MiamiHGS.com, promo code INSIGHT20. And there's the man right there, Darion Coleman. See, he's a small guy, but you see the hands. He's like gripping that football, ready to rip it, man. I think that mitigates a lot of his size issues, is he's just got some mitts. You heard asking, anything shaking with Jalen Lott? Things have gone a bit quiet. I don't think so. I mean, they're definitely trying. They're definitely trying to get Jalen Lott, but I don't think that's going to happen. Oregon signee. You never know. They'll make aggressive pushes here at the end with a lot of guys. Musical ambassador, Samorian Wingo moves on to the playoffs. That's good. Samorian Wingo, Miami's receiver commit, up to 22nd in the country nationally. Unbelievable. Not just as a receiver, overall player. So this guy's flying up the boards. Borderline 5-star at this point, man. So shout out to Samorian Wingo, really working on his game. CFC says Saban looks so happy on game day. He's not going anywhere. I mean, that's a good job. Everybody just calls you the GOAT. You make tons of money. You don't have to worry about losing or winning. You already got your resume pat. I think that's a good deal. Melvin Jones says he's going to be the future Coleman. He's going to have a chance. I think about Marcel Reed is a guy I would look at as a comp. Marcel Reed probably a better runner. I think Coleman maybe a better thrower, better arm. So I think that's interesting there to keep an eye on. Kane Gang says, check out Wingo's TD last night. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see. I'll try to find this this touchdown. Let's see if we got it here. He's making highlights every single day, it seems like. Shout out to Samorian Wingo. Oh, yeah, not up yet. But it looks like he did score a touchdown. Doing it every week. King Gang says, highlight reel. Carried 5 defenders into the end zone. Christopher Jack says, Coleman's a great prospect. We've got to do more for our quarterbacks once they get here. Listen, having the best pass protection in the country is a pretty good start if you're a quarterback. So I think it's a good spot for quarterbacks. I think Carson Beck needs to continue to play the way he's playing, but he's continuing that rehabilitation project and looking good. Got a big game today for him. But I think we do a lot for quarterbacks, man. I mean, it's hard to get guys out of high school that play well for your team. If you look around the country, how often is it happening? Alabama with Ty Simpson would be one, but that's probably going to be a one and done. Might as well got him out of the portal. It made no difference. And then Gunnar Stockton is doing well. I'd say he's one. Damon Williams for Washington. Although, did he transfer from Arizona? Did he sign Arizona and transfer? I don't remember. But, yeah, there's not a lot of guys homegrown playing for their team. Just not very common right now. Kane Game by Wingo says, first kid from St. Augustine since Willie Cooper in 2004. I remember Willie Cooper, 4-star recruit, big-time hitter at safety. Nick West says, you have to go with Bailey for me. You need a guy who bleeds orange and green, and it's clear Bailey does. We'll see on that. I do think it's the cleanest one because he's got 2 years of eligibility, true junior, no character stuff. It wouldn't be a bad breakup, I don't think, from NC State. Great size, great tools. He's been productive in the ACC. He knows everybody. He'd be here early, be a clean fit, I think. There it is. Christ is God, Messiah and King says, trifecta for Tony. Pass touchdown, run touchdown, catch touchdown, go Canes. How about a return touchdown too? Let's go with the 4. How about that? But yeah, big game, man. I don't want to sound flippant about the game, and we've broken it down all week. I'm nervous about it because every game gets me nervous, and especially this time of year. It's going to be a road game. It'll be a somewhat hostile environment. And it's college football, man. Anything can happen. But I think we do match up very well on paper. I think because their defense is poor, it will allow our offense to get into rhythm in a way that was tougher against an SMU defense, which is pretty salty, and against a Louisville defense that was also pretty good and played great against us, made some incredible interceptions. So The matchup favors us, but you got to play ball. So we'll see how it goes, man. Like I said, I'll be out there at Duffy's. You guys can see me out there. Love to meet all you guys and watch the game. Remember to like and subscribe to the show. It was 1,000 on game day, and appreciate everybody. Like and subscribe. Let's go 1-0 today. Go Canes.